I know, but when we're talking about cheap EV charging, you can't ignore Tesla. Let's have a look what they're charging. Currently 56 pence. We're in peak time here, 56 pence per kilowatt hour. Now that contrasts very nicely with Instavolt. They're 85 pence at peak time, of course, but overnight Instavolt have now got an off-peak rate, 54 pence. So peak at Tesla, 56, off-peak at Instavolt 54. But what happens if you come here off-peak? Well, this drops down to 44 pence, and that is one of the cheapest in the country. Not the cheapest, because about 20 miles from here is the Trafford Centre, and that one typically is way down in the 30 pence off-peak. But if you want cheap charging, politics aside, this is your location. I'm Dave. Welcome to Dave Takes It On. Tesla supercharger pricing often confuses people because each individual charging location can have a different price, and it might also have different peak and off-peak hours. This one between 9 o'clock and 8 o'clock is peak, everything else is off-peak, it's 56 pence and 44. But if you're heading back past Manchester, you could call in at the Trafford Centre, and that one has a very different arrangement where the off-peak goes as low as 28 pence per kilowatt hour. This is not membership or anything. This is just arrive, contactless, and you're away. And increasingly, we're seeing these EV charging locations at hotels and retail parks where you have to be very concerned about the parking, because it's not automatic if you're charging that you get free parking. Here, for example, this is a hotel, it's a Holiday Inn Express, and it does say, please register your car at the hotel reception. Failure to register will result in a parking fine. And they do fine you, because this is all cameras and ANPR. So if you charge here, don't read the sign, don't read the notice on your screen, and actually just park here and charge. You are going to get a parking fine, which I believe is a £100 fine. Off-peak then, 44 pence here. Any car, open to all, really simple CCS2 connector. What else is available at around about that price? Well, you could go to GridServe, and there you can find 49 pence, 24 hours a day. The only slight downside to that is that's their fast chargers, which typically are 11 kilowatts, some of them up at 22 kilowatts. So while it is 49p, still 5p dearer, it's going to take you 4, 5, 6 hours to get the same charge you can get here in 20 minutes. So why would anyone go to a fast charger when for a cheaper price you can go to an ultra rapid, get it all over with in 20 or 30 minutes and be on your way? And one of the questions, although these are very fast, typically 20, 25 minutes for a Tesla, maybe 30 minutes for non-Teslas, there's always a question what you do while your car is charging. Now, you can sit in your car, of course, but normally in all of locations, there'll be some sort of facilities. Here we are, we're outside a Holiday Inn Express on the M6, just outside of Preston and Leyland. And the facilities here, there's a hotel. It's open 24 hours a day. They've recently updated this because this is quite a new installation. We've been following this one for over a year while it was delayed with all sorts of problems. Most of it came down to BT outreach for the internet connection, and that was the big hold-up. However, since it's been open, they found a number of things. First of all, a lot of people are now using the facilities here. We've just been in, we met the manager, and they got some great facilities. They've got coffee, they've got hot snacks, they do pizzas and jacket potatoes and a few things. They've now also got televisions, specifically for people who are charging, who want to go and just stretch their legs and stretch out in a lounge. Arnold Clark, exactly the same. They have found that come 5 o'clock, when their showroom closes, their facilities close, yet the chargers are open 24 hours a day. And what they're doing is they're going through a process of upgrading their cafe facilities so that whatever time you turn up, you will have facilities there. And that's a very important feature. You don't really want to be sat in your car for too long. It's nice to get out, stretch your back, stretch your legs, have a walk around, go and have a coffee, go and have a pee break, and have a nice seat and maybe watch a bit of football while you're going on. In terms of how busy this is, we did follow this one for a long while before it finally opened, and we've been talking about the occupancy here. And this is quite typical. It's a busy location, and quite often when we check online at the occupancy, we find this one. There's maybe 8 or 10 chargers in use out of a total of 15. They did hit a peak time, and this is something that we need to be aware of. We had this up at T-Bay services in the lakes, and the number of people queuing up on a bank holiday. Why would anyone choose to charge their car on a bank holiday? You know it's going to be heaving. Why do it? And exactly the same here. Their busiest time, and the only time they've seen this charger location full with a small queue, which goes up onto the road, was on the 27th of December, after the Christmas break, when everyone was travelling home, and this place was chock-a-block on that occasion. But use a bit of common sense. If you know you're going to be travelling on a bank holiday or the first day off after Christmas, then charge up the day before, the night before, and just have a clear run on your drive on that particular busy day. So luckily it's quiet at the moment. I can stand in the middle of this bay. This is a Tesla Supercharger priority charging bay, and it shows someone in a wheelchair. It shows an old person, feels like me at the moment, a pregnant woman, and a pram. So this is priority charging, not just disabled or handicapped charging. You get the extra wide bays, and you get your own charger, which is in a different orientation to the others. So just pointing out that if you are a less able driver, you need to charge here, they have their own bays. Anyway, we were going to talk about cheaper charging. Where can you get cheaper? We've not found any, particularly not when we talk about Trafford Centre at 28 pence. It seems there's a never-ending number of CPOs who are just gradually boosting the price up at the moment. We got GridServe going up to 85 pence on some of their locations. We got Osprey have just increased from 79 to 82. It seems to be the trend to going upwards. But Arnold Clark, totally the opposite. They currently have somewhere around about 40 locations throughout the whole of the UK. And I know one of their ambitions is to be able to drive from John O'Groats in the north right the way down to Land's End, only using Arnold Clark charging networks at 55 pence, and you can pre-book your journey in advance, so you always arrive and there's a charger waiting for you. That's a great ambition at a time when other people seem to be cashing in and ripping us EV drivers off with their ever-increasing prices. Now, we filmed the original installation at Arnold Clark in Leyland, and that was not finished yet, but we have been invited back to do another big feature when that one opens up, and we will be talking to some of the staff there about their aims and ambitions, why they're charging 55 pence per kilowatt hour, and how long they believe they can keep that going for, or is this just a permanent policy? So keep a lookout for that video. If you don't want to miss that, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because as we launch videos, you'll be notified, and when the one you want comes up, just click on it and we help you do that. And what have we here? Now, we see quite a lot of BYD Attos, Atto 3, but this is the BYD Seal, and it's a 3.8S. Now, what do you reckon that's for? I would say that's probably their 0 to 60 time. Just a guess. Anyway, we don't see many of these. This is the Seal. This is the bigger version. So this is a much more family-based car, and these are now starting to appear in the UK. Here in the UK, we don't yet have an anti-China tariff ban. We welcome everyone in. We want all the cars we can get. Doesn't matter who makes them, because if we can encourage the Chinese to come in here and set up factories for assembly, we might be able to get some employment out of them as well. So what we have here is a much greater range of cars, EVs, than they have in the States. Probably not quite as many as they have in Europe, because they do manufacture an awful lot of cars in Europe, and some of those are not yet over here. But this is a welcome sight. These are cracking cars. They've got rave reviews. We're going to be having a look at these in a separate video to see what they have to offer, price, spec, and everything else. We get so many comments about charging and prices going up. It's really refreshing to come here and find cheap charging, and also to go to Arnold Clark and find a new CPO who's charging very realistic prices, 55p. I always liken this to when I used to drive petrol and diesel cars, and I would never ever fill up at a motorway service station because they just boost the price up 20 or 30 pence a litre because you're on a motorway, and if you're there, you've got no choice. We don't suffer from that with EVs. If you go to a motorway service station, there's a Tesla supercharger or a grid server or an Osprey, whatever it is, the normal prices. So we EV drivers don't have this rip-off price at motorway services. I'm surprised when some of you EV haters have a go at us for complicated charging, yet you put up with 30 pence a litre extra at the motorway services. Anyway, rant over. There is cheap charging about. You may need to look for it. You may need to drive an extra couple of miles, but this is about half price here. And if you go a little bit further, or if you live in Manchester a little bit closer, you can find almost a third of the price that others like Osprey and Instavolt and Ionity are charging you. So the bargains are out there. Surely a little bit of effort to find your best charging location when you first get your EV, and then you never need to do it again. You found your cheapest place, just use it. And unless something drastic changes, just keep using it. Well, that's all for now. We've got a load of action going on behind us with the auctions. This is British Auction Site here. So for me, for the moment, from Walton Summit on the M6, heading northbound, southbound, I'm Dave. This is Dave Takes It On.